Is all magic really demonic? In my experience, speaking with Christians about things such as magic, divination, tarot cards, mediumship, dream interpretation, they'll typically tell you they don't mess with stuff like that because they believe in it, because it's real. Their claim is that it's all demonic. Now, there's a scene in the Bible where a witch raises the dead. And it works. The ghost is real. God's own prophet shows up and he's annoyed that someone woke him up. It's not a trick, and it's not a demon impersonating him. The text says it's the actual man, Samuel, and what he tells the king comes true. That story is in the same book that says, do not consult with the dead. Now, if you've ever brought up mediumship or tarot cards or even astrology, Christians usually condemn it by using Deuteronomy 18. And the modern teaching on that goes even further than this text says. The modern Christian Western belief is that none of it is actually real. It's all just demons. So you might be speaking to a medium and you think you're talking to grandma, but really it's a demon. This demon knows your grandma's memories, and it's just a way for the demon to possess you, torture you, and to drag you down into the dark. I too used to believe this. My reason for not touching that was not that it was fake. It was because I thought it was real and dangerous and demonic. That's the narrative. Now, what's interesting about this belief is that Christians tend to give the devil or demons much more power than they give to God. If you pray to God and nothing happens, their explanation is God's timing isn't ours. He's mysterious and he works in ways that we cannot see. Perhaps it just wasn't God's will. The silence gets reframed as some sort of hidden presence. God never fails to answer. He's just answering in a language that's too deep for us to hear. But on the other hand, if something supernatural does occur, a tarot reading lands, or a medium knows something they just couldn't possibly know, a dream comes true, it gets instantly attributed to that of the work of demons. So in this theology, God, who runs the whole universe, somehow can't reliably make himself felt in your daily life. But demons, they show up on command, whether you want them to or not. Somehow they've given the demons more demonstrable power than they've given their God. Now, if you want to go back and read Deuteronomy 18 again, nowhere in there does it say that this is not real. It's not a demon pretending to be grandma who somehow got her memories. They're not playing some long con to reel you in and possess you. The entire impersonation theory is a modern invention. Now, the most interesting part of this to me is how in the Bible all of this works openly. Go back to that witch, the medium at Endor, 1 Samuel 28. King Saul had banned mediums from the land. Then he panics and disguises himself, and he goes to one anyway. She performs the ritual, and Samuel, dead and buried, and the prophet of Yahweh, comes up. She's the one who's terrified because it actually worked. Samuel speaks and he's irritated, and he gives Saul a true prophecy. Tomorrow you and your sons will die, and the next day they die. The Bible never says that it's a fraud or a demon disguised as Samuel. This is the Bible's single most detailed necromancy scene, and it's treated as real. More magic in the Bible is Exodus 7. Pharaoh's magicians throw down their staves, and they become snakes. It's rival magic. The Bible doesn't call it fake, and it doesn't even call it demonic. It just loses to a bigger power. The question is never, is it real? The question is only, whose magic is it? So this is where it gets uncomfortable for the modern church. The Bible doesn't just allow the supernatural. It makes heroes out of the people doing it. In Genesis 44, Joseph owns a silver cup he uses for divination, and Daniel gets promoted to chief of the magicians, enchanters, and astrologers of Babylon. That's his literal title. He's the head occultist of a pagan empire, and he's a hero of the faith. The Magi, or the wise men in the nativity scene, are Zoroastrian astrologers. They read a star. They practice the exact art that Christians condemn today, and it led them straight to Jesus. And the high priest carried Urim and Thummim, objects to get a yes or no answer from God. That's sanctioned divination. The whole nation read God's will by casting lots. Saul chosen by Lot, the land divided by Lot, and even in Acts, the apostles picked Judas's replacement by casting lots. They literally chose an apostle with the dice roll. So the truth is, the Bible was never against the supernatural. It was never even against seeking hidden knowledge or even contacting the unseen. Read Deuteronomy 18 all the way to the end, because right after it bans all of those practices, it says instead, God will raise up a prophet for you. That's the whole game. Don't get your hidden knowledge over there. Get it over here from our guy, through our authorized channel. The rival providers are abominations. Prophecies, lots, Urim and Thummim, dream interpretations, visions, all of that is holy. The modern, it's all demonic, it's all fake, is a totally separate, much later argument. one that the actual text does not make, because the people who wrote it lived in a world where rival magic was obviously real. They didn't need it to be fake, they just needed it to lose. The next time Deuteronomy 18 gets thrown in your face, why don't you ask them the real question? Why is your God so quiet and your demons so reliable? Because that's not what the Bible says at all. That's what fear says. And somewhere along the way, they started calling it faith.